Hey everybody, this is going to be the Windows command line tutorial, and the real reason that we have a different video for this is that the Windows operating system does not yet ship with a command prompt that is compatible with most development tools. So if you go search on your machine, you will find command prompt. This is what comes with Windows and has come with Windows for many versions, but it is not compatible with most development tools. So we'll go ahead and close that. And there have been announcements that the command line bash that is available to us on Mac and Linux is actually going to become available to Windows 10, but there's not yet a time frame for that. So one of the tools that someone created specifically to solve this issue is called Cygwin, and we're going to go ahead and download this. So what you'll do is go to cygwin.com. So you'll want to go ahead and install this by scrolling down here, and you'll see that they have a 32-bit version and a 64-bit version. If you don't know which version of Windows you have, you can go to Settings and under System, and then finally under About. You'll see here that we have 64-bit operating system type. So we want the 64-bit version. You'll download this. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. You will go ahead and run it. Follow the default instructions. Go ahead and just accept everything as is. And once you get here to choose a download site, go ahead and choose the first one. And this will go ahead and install Cygwin for you. I'm going to go ahead and speed ahead. The Select Packages screen will come up. Go ahead and hit Next. And what this is going to do again is install all these packages, and you'll get a sense of how long this is going to take here once it finds them all. So I already had all that installed, so it's going to take a lot less time for me to do that. I'm going to go ahead and create a icon in the Start menu and hit Finish. Okay, so now we have Cygwin installed. We can go ahead and search for it. And what we're going to see here is something that's much more similar to what the Mac and Linux operating systems ship with. We see here that we have a username, and then our machine name. This is going to be a little bit different for you. It's going to be your username and whatever you've named your machine. I'm also running Windows on a Mac, so there's going to be a few differences here in just what you see output to the screen, but the actual functionality of how the command line works will be the same for you. And so what I'm going to do to illustrate this best is that I'm going to create a new folder on my desktop, and I'm going to call it Command Line Project. And what we can do here to open this file directly is do CD. CD stands for Change Directory. And what we can do is we can drag this into Cygwin, and what it's going to do is it's going to take the location of this folder, which is in my case Mac/home/desktop/command line project. Yours is going to be different, most likely starting with something like C:/ whatever that might be. And that's okay. So go ahead and hit enter. And now what you're going to see here is that up here in the yellow, this is the active path that we're in. And again, you see your username and machine name and this prompt. Now that we're in a folder, we can actually do pwd. PWD stands for Print Working Directory, and what you'll see here is that it's output the exact same thing that we have here up in yellow. And so that just means that we are in this working directory. So Command Line Project is the folder that we're in. If we open this folder over here, we'll put it side by side here. And you'll see as we add things to this folder, we'll actually see them in our command prompt as well. So now let's go ahead and see how we might look inside the folder. So over here we see an empty folder. In Cygwin, in our command line, we can go ahead and hit ls. ls stands for list, and currently there are no files in this folder, so we're not going to see anything. But let's go ahead and create a new file. So we're going to do touch, And let's go ahead and create an index.html file. When we do that, you'll see that now there is an index.html file inside of our command line folder. Here's that command line folder on our desktop. And what we're going to do now over here is do ls again. And now you'll see index.html exists inside the folder. What we can do here again is hit pwd, and we'll see that we're inside the command line project folder with index.html. You can do ls-l. This will output a little bit more information about all the files that are in that folder. So in this case, when the file was created or last edited, who created it, and then these dashes and letters stand for the permissions of this file, which we'll get into in a future video. So ls-l will give us this detail. If there are any hidden files, so there are files that begin with a period, and they'll literally be like .get, they aren't visible to us in the UI. So if we do ls-a, we'll actually see what hidden files there are. Let's go ahead and do touch.get and do ls-a, and we'll see here that we have a period, and then a period.get, and then index.html. If we just do ls, we only see index.html. ls-la will actually combine both the list and the show all files, which gives us that dot file. So what's really important to know is that this single period stands for the folder that we're currently in. And so that dot actually represents this whole working directory. The two periods stands for a link to the folder that is the parent of the folder that we're currently in. So currently we're in command line project. If we were to move ourselves to period, it will actually take us to /mac/home/desktop. So if I do cd, which stands for change directory, period, it'll actually take us up one. And you'll see here that would be the equivalent of going up a folder over here. So now we're at mac/home/desktop. Here we have desktop. And let's go ahead and go back into our command line folder here, and let's do an ls over here. We'll see the recycle bin, the command line project, a couple folders, and this db file. We want to go back into command line project, and so we're going to do again cd command line project. You can start to type the word and hit tab, and it will actually automatically fill it in for you. So cd command line project, and then now you again see that we're in this working directory of /command line project. So that's really how you move around. You can move up multiple folders by using slashes. So this would actually take us up 2 folders. So it would take us from command line project up to desktop and then up to home. So if we do that, you'll see /mac/home. We can go the other way because we know that desktop is inside of home and command line project is inside of that. So cd/desktop/command line project will take us all the way back to where we need to be. And that shows us how to move around folders. So if we ls, we'll see that we still have that index.html file. We can create as many files as we want using just touch. Touch will create a file if it doesn't exist, so in that case it already existed. If it already exists, what it's going to do is it's going to update it, and all it's going to do is change the time that it was last edited. No changes have been made to it other than that it's similar to having opened the file and have the timestamp change. If we do touch recipes.html and touch todos.html, we now have 3 full different files over here. I'm going to go ahead and do make dir. So make dir is a way of creating new directories. So it stands for make directory, and we can go ahead and say to do lists, and we're going to hit enter. What this actually has done is that it's created, instead of creating one folder called to-do lists, we've actually created a folder called to-do and a folder called lists, as you can see here. If we wanted to create a folder that was called to-do lists, we would use quotes, and then now that'll give us mkdir to-do lists, and we now have a folder over here called to-do lists. That is how you create directories. You can also delete directories as long as they are empty. So I'm going to delete the to-do lists folder using rmdir, and we'll hit enter. Now that folder goes away. I want to go ahead and create one more folder called recipes, and we want to move, so let's go ahead and ls. We want to move this recipes.html file into this folder. And now I can just do that right now by clicking and dragging, but there's also a way to do that here in the command line. So if I do ls-la again, you'll see that this list matches this list of files, and we want to move recipes.html into recipes. So let's go ahead and do mv, which stands for move, and mv recipes.html recipes. So what that has just done is moved recipes.html into the folder. We can cd into recipes, and now you'll see here that it's appended to the end of the working directory. We can ls and see that recipes is inside of that folder. If we go into the folder here, we also see it in the Finder. So let's go ahead and go back up a folder, which is cd period. We'll just use the arrow here to go back up here. And we have moved a file, but how would you rename a file? So let's go ahead and rename the index file to home.html. So move will move a file if you're moving it to a new location. So in our case, we were moving recipes.html to the recipes folder. But if instead we say move index.html to home.html, you've given it the current name of the file and a new name for the file, home.html. If we go ahead and save that by hitting enter, you'll see here home.html now is there. If we ls, you'll see that the index.html mostly, and that is because you'll see that the index.html is now called home.html. Now if I want to copy a file, so let's do cp.todos.html. This stands for copy. It's going to take this file and we're going to recreate it. Everything that's inside of it will be there, but we're also going to keep the one that we originally had. And let's go ahead and call this lists.html. And when we hit enter, we'll now have home, lists, and to-dos. And that's how you use copy. So if I ls again, you'll see the exact same list that we have here. ls-a, ls-la, all just ways of viewing those files. We can delete files by using rm. So rm, let's go ahead and remove to-do. So to-do is a folder and there's nothing inside of it. But if we use rm to-do and hit enter, you'll see that we're not allowed to do that because it's a directory, not a file. We can, however, do rm todos.html, and when we hit enter, it will go ahead and delete that file. So if we hit ls, you won't see that in the list anymore. Now it's very important that you use caution while using rm. rm will delete that file and you cannot recover it. So use it sparingly, make sure you know what it is that you're deleting before you delete it. Now, we couldn't delete this folder to do, and we've already seen this, but we'll go ahead and do it again. You can do rmdir on empty directories. So rmdir to do, and we go ahead and hit enter, and now you'll see that to do is gone. If we try to do that same thing to recipes, rmdir recipes, it will fail because we know that there is a recipe inside of this folder. So if we go ahead and hit enter, it'll say failed to remove directory not empty. So it does try to help you and prevent you from doing things that could be destructive, but let's say we really do want to delete the recipes folder. We can do rm-r, which stands for recursive. What this will do is it will delete all of the files inside of the folder and then delete the folder. But it will also go through, and if there are folders inside of folders and more folders inside of those folders, it will go all the way to the bottom of that tree and delete everything recursively until there's nothing left inside of it. So if we do rm-r recipes, you'll see we don't get any errors, and over here we've disappeared. Folder has now disappeared, and we can go ahead and do ls-la again, and we see home, lists, and lists, 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 and home. So that shows up there. Those are the different commands that we're going to be using initially with command line. We will be adding new commands to the command line. Those are going to be tools that make our lives a little bit easier and make it so that we can be more productive web developers. Thank you.